G'day everyone. So we're going to continue on with a little bit of the hand and finger series. I've picked out this muscle in particular because it actually came up in clinic this week. So once again, it does go under the radar. There's a lot of muscles that, well, obviously, I love a muscle that goes under the radar, but this one in particular obviously had a client coming in who's obviously an archer, so it's a lot of pulling and gripping and so forth, was having some problems with the index finger and also a little bit of sort of dull aching across the top of the hand itself. So really funny. Obviously you go through your assessment, obviously looking at clenching, obviously going into extension, resisted and so forth, but one thing that came up in my mind was, and this happened ages ago as well, when I was talking to a physio about some hand stuff, and especially when we talk about self-care for therapists and so forth, there's a muscle that goes under the radar. It's called extensor indicis, and it's obviously involved in our index finger. It's an extensor as well. But what's really important about this muscle is that it really does get overlooked because of the musculature over it. So what you'll find is it attaches on this first phalangeal joint here, it comes down, crosses across, goes underneath the retinaculum, and then attaches on to sort of that medial border of our ulna. So in terms of finding this muscle and obviously the trigger point, it's pretty simple. So let's take these other fingers out, okay? So we've just got our index finger up here. Now what we'll do is we come to the head of the ulna here. If you come down off the head of the ulna, okay, bring in the other fingers here. So what you're going to do is sink into that interosseous membrane area there, so you can sink in there, and then if you just pull medially onto that ulnar bone there and then start wiggling your finger, you should pick up extensor indicis, okay? So it's a pretty important muscle from the point of view of using your finger and gripping and so forth, and you'll find that the trigger point is usually just about 1 or 2 finger widths up from the head of the ulna here, and that'll refer deep into the back of your hand. And it's quite simple. Obviously a little bit of work for me in terms of obviously take the other fingers out, grip in, sink in, immediately bring it over, and then obviously just going through a little bit of range into flexion first, and then I can go a little bit into extension as well, and just working through that tissue like so. And it's so easy to find because you just press onto it, obviously wiggle your index finger, and you'll feel it obviously moving underneath there. It's obviously supplied by the deep radial nerve as well. There is no real nerve entrapment stuff with it, but in terms of obviously working muscles that go under the radar and helping us. And obviously this was extraordinarily important for that archer, and in the end of the day obviously subsided a lot of their symptoms, especially a lot of that dull aching into the back of the hand as well. So extensor indicis, all right? So here we are, head of the ulna, slop over, all right? Come down to finger width, bring in the other 3 fingers, sink into the interest, bring the tissue across onto the ulnar itself, okay? And then wiggle your finger and you should be able to find it, extensor indicis. Hope that helps, guys. Be awesome.